Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Bitches Be Cray. Before we begin, I want to let you know that this episode contains discussions around child sexual abuse. This is an incredibly difficult and sensitive topic, and while we approach it with care and respect, the content may be triggering or upsetting for some listeners. Please prioritize your well-being. If you're not in the right headspace to listen right now, we encourage you to come back when you feel ready or skip this episode entirely. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Bitches Be Cray. Just a quick reminder, everything we share on this show reflects our personal experiences and what's worked for us. We're not healthcare professionals, so if you or someone you know is dealing with a medical or mental health concern, please reach out to a qualified professional for support. What's up, bitches? Welcome to Bitches Be Cray. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nancy. And today's episode, it's going to be a little bit more serious. Not that we're not serious, but it's a little bit more of a touchy subject. Not a subject that people really want to talk about too often. Is exactly why we decided that we wanted to go ahead and be open about it. We're going to be talking about child abuse, particularly. Are we allowed to say sexual abuse? I know sometimes on TikTok they're like, cut it off.
We're
going to be talking about, I guess, the sexual abuse that went on. I mean, it's happening now, but I think in the 90s it was crazy,
and probably before that too.
Yeah.
But I feel like us that like kind of grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
This generation is more open about telling their story than people like generations before. So, I mean, of course, it's been happening
forever.
It
will continue to happen as long as there's sick people in the world, of course. Yeah. But we wanted to talk about our personal stories and share some stories of women that are not yet open to talk about their stories anonymously, of course.
Yeah. And a big purpose around this is like so many people, like Nancy said, don't feel comfortable sharing, which of course is totally okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, you're not alone. Like, this is what this is about. Like, so, and unfortunately, there are a lot of these
You're not alone. I wish you were.
Right.
I wish I was alone.
In sharing our stories, maybe you will feel like, okay, you know, I'm not alone. Maybe you'll get to a place where you feel like you want to talk to somebody about it, whether it's a friend or a family member or seeking help.
Or admit it to yourself, period.
True.
Some people can't even do that.
Right. It's true.
So I want to go ahead and start by saying, I mean, everybody knows where I grew up. I grew up in a farm, literally in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it was so remote that I didn't even know what a park was. I had never seen a slide. I know what a swing was because we made one from the tree. So by me saying this, I just want to paint a picture of how did I know about sex? So by me saying that, I mean that from the moment I have awareness of being alive, I knew what sex was. And me being from a small farm in the middle of nowhere in Mexico with boomer parents who till this day refuse to talk about sex with me, it just always brought up a red flag for me. Like, I don't have a lot of memories of my childhood at all. But I always knew about sex. And I always knew about masturbating, but not the, you know, how there's like stages of our lives that are like psychiatrists say that it's normal to like
explore your
body and all that. No, I feel like I started that way too early, and I knew about things. For example, I used to put pads on my Barbies. How the fuck did I know that? I would steal the pads from my sister and I would put it between her legs. And I just always felt like there was something wrong. You know, does that make sense? Like something was missing. And I always thought it was something, but I never knew because I don't remember my childhood. And it wasn't until, was I already pregnant or before I got pregnant? Was I already pregnant, the Target thing? I don't think I was yet.
When
when I finally remembered.
I think it was before you were pregnant.
So one day, I was already moved out of my parents' house. I must have been mid-20s. So I was driving to Target, and all of a sudden, the memory of me being... So in Mexico, where I'm from, it's a farm. So after we grew corn, and then we cut the corn, and then my parents would make, not just my parents, but everybody would make this little teepees out of the corn so it would dry, and then you grind it up and make hay for the cows. And as kids, we would go inside the little teepees. And I remember being in that teepee, and I want to say a female, like fondling me and like making out with me hardcore. And I also remember being at a party, and I remember because my sister had made me these pants, and they were kind of like bell bottoms, and I was so into them. I thought I was like hot shit with this bell bottoms. And I remember that day that I was wearing those bell bottoms, the same female took me like away from like the grown-ups and like touched me and did a bunch of shit to me.
Did you say how old you were with the bell bottoms here?
I must have been like 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
She was about 10, 11, maybe 12. I think she's 40 now. And then I remember just little small clips. I remember a penis, but I don't remember whose penis it was. But I've always felt like there's just more to that story, but I've never like wanted to like dig in and be like, I just feel like I don't know. I'm afraid that it's somebody that I know more than I want to know, because that female, she was a close family person. Yeah. But I don't know if I want to know more. I think there's more, because I do not remember my childhood in Mexico whatsoever. But I do remember those like 3 or 4 like little stories and memories. And I don't even know why that even happened. I was like already like 25, 26, just randomly driving to the fucking Target.
Like maybe did you hear something or see something that triggered it, or it just like
no? But I feel like it wasn't until my daughter was born that it just, the feeling got louder. Yeah, after my daughter was born is when it got louder for me. Like that's when it clarified that something 150% had happened, because I was so paranoid, and I'm still like, I said I was hypervigilant. No, I am fucking paranoid. Like I'm paranoid of her being alone with people that she doesn't know. I'm paranoid sometimes of her being alone with people that she does know. Like I'm scared to date people. Like I would call it paranoid for sure. I feel like once I had her, I realized like, how can even back in the day, like I feel like, I don't want to say this and I feel bad, but I feel like nobody gave a shit. Like the most random people, like, hey, I just met this guy off the street. He's staying with us, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like back in the day, kids had no voice. We had no place. Like, I feel like, how could I even tell anybody that this girl, like, took me under the teepee and did God knows what to me? Like, I don't think obviously I didn't tell anybody that. I knew it was wrong because I was like hiding a way to like masturbate. So it was obviously not something that I knew that I could share. So that alone lets me know that that other person must have told me that I can't share because I was 6 years old. So I feel like there was just no relationship with the parents. Like there was no relationship with anybody. Like we couldn't tell anybody anything. I feel like we had no voice, no word. Nobody would believe us. It was always a grown up against us.
Well, this just makes me think of like something a lot more simple and less, creepy. But like if you have siblings
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even cousins, like whatever, and it's like if there's like a little dispute, but siblings have little
Mhm.
arguments and disagreements on everything. Cause like I think back to one time my brother threw the little toy car
Mhm.
and hit me. I mean,
Mhm.
he's younger than me though, and he was always kind of this sweet, like kind of innocent kind of kid. So even if I like, I'd want to retaliate,
Mhm.
what is it? I want to get like revenge. So like, whatever, I'm going to fight him. I'm a kid,
Yeah.
but like it would be my fault.
Because you're the bigger one.
Yeah. So that I think things like that made me feel like, because you were saying
Yeah.
kids don't have a voice. Like, but even if I tell you something, are you going to believe me? Because I literally told you he threw the car at me and I didn't do anything to
Yeah.
start this, but you didn't believe me then. So if you won't believe me over something so small, how can I trust that you would believe me over something big? Like, that's just what made me think of.
And I also feel like back in the day, those like parents put their kids in really vulnerable positions and let them be alone with people that you had no business leaving your kid alone with at
Your
all.
new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Your sometimes, your step parents.
Yeah.
Your step parents' family. Like, or
Yeah.
like, it's like, oh, but I'm married in this family now. Like, you can go stay with your stepdad's uncle. Like,
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Like stuff
Or
like
random
that.
daycares you might not know anything about because you
Yeah.
literally have to go to work and
You
like,
do.
what are you going to do sometimes?
Yeah, I just feel like things were just so different. I mean, I feel like those things are still happening right now. Obviously, that's always going to happen. But I feel like back in the day, kids were just like, right now, my daughter will literally, anything that makes her uncomfortable, she'll be like, that's making me. And even then, I'm afraid that somebody will still tell her, don't tell your mom.
Mhm.
Like nobody ever told me, hey, if somebody does this to you, or nobody's allowed to touch you down there. Like none of that. Like all of that was so taboo in my family. Nobody ever said to me that nobody was allowed to touch my body or that I was even allowed to say no ever. So, and I feel like growing up, I've always been disassociated from my life. And I 150% believe that, yes, my parents, like, I guess, neglect to me when I moved to the US was a big thing. But I feel that at the end of the day, the core of everything is whatever did happen to me sexually in Mexico. Because I don't remember nothing. But like those, like, apart from that, any memory of a happiness or joy, I do not remember. I maybe one or two or three memories. And that's because there's pictures of them. So when I look at the picture, I can be like, oh, okay, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I've been disassociated from my life ever since. Like I disassociated, and I feel like that's when my daydreaming really started as well.
Well, that's interesting because I've seen, because I watch a lot of like crime stuff, and some of those stories that people share obviously do include sexual abuse as a child or an adult, whatever. Yeah. But people will say like, I tried to block it out. I tried to go to a happy place. So maybe like something like when that was happening to you, you kind of learned how to do that.
I also feel like, I don't even know how to, I don't think I've ever said this. I also feel like I felt dirty. And sometimes people would look at me and I feel like they knew that I was dirty and they didn't like me because I was dirty. I don't know if even that makes sense. No, like dirty, like the sexual dirty, not the dirty as in like dirty, but yeah, I felt like people would look at me
like a shame. It's like feeling shame.
Like I was ashamed because like they knew that what I had done, even though it was done to me. Mm-hmm. I didn't do it. I wasn't a part of it. I didn't consent. I felt like they knew that I was dirty and they didn't want me. And I feel like that's where oh my God, guys, we just had a breakthrough. I feel like oh my God. I feel like that's when I first felt like not wanted by the community in my farm, because I always felt like they knew this part of me and that they were disgusted by it.
So it's almost like you feel like you're wearing like that scarlet letter A.
Yeah.
And like everyone could see it.
Yeah. And the fact that makes me really sad, because the fact that someone can think that of a child Because I feel like maybe it was my imagination. I feel like they would look at me like that. And sometimes I feel like they didn't, like, there was only like one little girl that was my age. I almost felt like they didn't even want her to hang out with me either, because I felt like they felt that I was like that. And I don't know what comments I made. Obviously, I don't remember my childhood, so I could have made weird comments because I was abused. So I didn't know what was proper. I was 6 years old. So I don't know, but I feel like it's impacted my entire life because I disassociated. I went somewhere else. I just came back 3 years ago from wherever that place I went.
You're gone a long time.
And I was gone for a real motherfucking long time.
Yeah.
So I haven't begun to heal it. I'm not going to say that I have. I think the only thing that I've done to heal, I've talked to my therapist about it. I've told you, I've told my cousin and my sister-in-law. But I've never told my parents, hey, like, no, I've never told my parents. I don't plan on telling my parents. I think the only thing I've done is acknowledge my inner child, and I've stopped going to an imaginary world.
Well, I mean, this is just my opinion, but it kind of reminds me of like addicts. It's almost like the first step to heal is that you have to like acknowledge that it happened, and you're sharing your story, and might be like only beginnings of healing around it, but it's something.
Yeah.
You know?
And I also, now thinking about the whole, that's when I felt rejected because I thought that I was dirty. I almost feel like, and this is probably out there because not a lot of people believe this, but you know how like when you believe something, you manifest it and you bring it into the world and you bring it to existence. I feel like that's why women also rejected me too. Like I always just felt like not wanted. So I feel like that led me to have some crazy ass, the mere fact that I was completely disassociated from my life for so long. So I feel that's the only thing I've done. I don't allow myself to disassociate anymore. I'm very hyper aware. Like before, I didn't even know how I got somewhere when I drove because I disassociated. Now I don't do that. So I feel like that's probably why I don't listen to music too, because I just want to be like present. So I feel like that's the only things I've done to actually heal. I don't allow myself to disassociate, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. Like if it comes up in a conversation, like not that anybody's gonna talk about this in a fucking dinner party, but like if somebody were to bring it up in a dinner party, I would be like, yeah, that happened to me. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, no. You know, I would just be like, yeah, that happened to me. And also I think another thing that I've done in order to heal, it's not for me, but it's for my daughter. Like I feel like I try to teach her, like ever since my daughter's been talking since she was 10 months. So ever since she could talk, I taught her I didn't use my cookie jar, vagina and penis. Men have penis, women have vagina. And I always taught her that. And I always taught her that she's not allowed to, that no one should ask her to touch their penis or vagina, and that no one should touch her vagina. And I would talk about that often, and I still do. And I would quiz her, and I might be paranoid, but I'd be like, who's allowed to touch your vagina? And she'd be like, me. And I'd be like, am I allowed to touch your vagina? She'd be like, no, only me. So I feel like that's a way of me healing too. Like having open conversations with my daughter, knowing that, and I told her, I was like, if somebody ever tells you not to tell me, that's what you need to tell me. And if they tell you they're going to hurt me, they're not going to hurt me because your mommy's strong. Like, have you seen me, girl? You know nobody's going to fuck with me. And she'll be like, that's true. So stuff like that, because those are the things that they tell you, that if you tell your parents this is going to happen, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. So I told her, I was like, no matter what they say, you talk to me, you tell me, and we're going to resolve it together. And I feel like that's my way, I guess, of healing my inner child and healing that, like, I'm going to be that person for my daughter. And if it still ends up, obviously, and I think also, part of it is when it did happen and the kid did tell, most of the time they swept her under the rug like it was this big, shameful, terrible fucking thing that ruined the whole family's name.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's another thing. Like okay, let's say, I hope it never does, but if it were to happen to my child, I want her to know that we're going to fight this together, and we're not going to be ashamed of it in front of anybody ever. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And we're not going to sweep it under the rug.
And it's not your fault.
And it's not your fault. And we're not going to take you to the shower and rinse you off and pretend like it never. No. We're going to address it and we're going to take care of it and we're going to do what we have to do. And I'm going to be there for you. And I feel like that's where the real problem is. That, yeah, it happened to us, but then there was nobody there. Nobody was there for us. There was not a grown-up to guide us through the whole problem. And I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to blame our parents. They did their best, but I do feel like that whole coming home till the lights came off shit, we glamorized that a lot.
Right. Like did we have more freedom than kids do these days in terms of like parents knowing where we were, what we're doing? We did, but that doesn't mean it was a great thing.
And nobody could record you or anything, because I bet you anything that the kids are doing dumb shit right now. They're recording each other.
Yeah.
No, there was no proof of it. Nobody knew what was happening. So yeah, of course we were out until the street lights came on, doing God knows what, or God knows what happening to us. And our parents were just like, they're fine.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, obviously they did their best, but I do think that it's important that we talk to our kids about stuff like that. And that's my story. Well, there's more, but I honestly don't remember it.
I'm going to say there's two things that I wanted to like comment on. And one was when you were talking about how you felt your like community like knew, or they saw you as dirty, or saw it almost like you were saying like they saw you as the problem, like, no, my kid's not hanging out with you, you're like a problem. It made me think back to our episode about toxic friendships and the one you had.
Oh yeah.
But I know this is kind of different because
her mom thought it was dirty too.
I was gonna say maybe people did think you were like, but it wasn't you. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wonder how much of that, and I wasn't there, so I don't know. So maybe you know, but I wonder how much of you being the problem was your perception. Like, do you really think or was that like from your childhood trauma? Like in your mind, you're thinking everyone thinks I'm the problem. Even if they didn't.
Oh, that's also a thing too. I feel like, what if I created this whole thing in my head because I was so ashamed of what had happened to me? Like I was so, I feel like, what if I was like so ashamed of what happened to me? Like, that I projected all of that because I was so ashamed of what had happened to me.
I was gonna say, in your defense, from the toxic, like on paper, obviously your friend did look like a sweet little nothing.
She did,
and you were very honest. But just from hearing you say that, because like I don't think I ever heard you say that you felt like like people knew and that people thought you were the problem. You didn't say, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but then it just made me think of that scenario.
Yeah, I feel like everybody always thought that I was a problem.
But I wonder if people really thought it, or if you thought it. Or maybe
they didn't want their kids around me. So, and sometimes there's like this little girl that I hate, God knows I shouldn't hate people. There's a little girl that's friends with my daughter, and I just don't like her. I think that she's something. And I think that she reminds me of me. And I think and then I'm like, I cannot believe that I'm over here rejecting what people thought of me.
Yeah.
It's so terrible.
That's probably part of your trauma too.
Mm-hmm. It is. I don't say anything to my daughter. I just shove it down my throat. I'm not going to be a bitch to a 6-year-old child. What's wrong with me? Yeah. But I do feel that way, and it makes me feel bad. But then I understand now, like, I understand the parents now too. If they thought that I was the problem, like, I understand them trying to protect their child from me.
Right. So. Yeah. The other thing was about like, well, I guess it was about a few things, but like how children didn't always tell their parents for whatever reason. But if you think about it, I think too, like someone who's never had any type of sexual abuse, I feel like they're almost naive to think no one in my family. So then if you're like Uncle so-and-so or whatever did, like, they were like, no, that can, you know what I mean? It's almost like
don't make up lie.
Yeah. So I think that also it's all about, like, that's why I'm so happy that you have talked to your daughter and you've literally provided this safe space to know, like, I don't care if anybody did it. Like, it's you and I against the world. Like,
I don't care if it was my brother.
Right.
He wouldn't, but I don't care who it was.
Right.
Like, I'm going to kill them. We're going to call the cops, but I'm going to kill them. Yeah, I've told her that. I mean, over and over. And like I said, I think I'm borderline paranoid. I really do. But I think I've gotten better. Before it taunted me day and night. Now it's just here and there.
I think it's better to be paranoid than naive. I mean, for your mental health, paranoid is not awesome,
No,
but
it's
it's
not.
better than to me.
It's gotten better.
It's
It's gotten
better
better.
than being someone who thinks that so and so would never do that, and then you're just blindly trusting.
No, I don't
anybody
think that
and
nobody would
everybody.
never.
Yeah.
Nobody would never. And also, and this is even crazier. I've never said this out loud. There was a part of me when I first had her, when she started getting a little bit older, that thought, how like hurt people hurt people.
Oh yeah.
I thought like, what if because I was abused sexually, I end up like sexually abusing my own child? I thought that.
I think some people.
Some people do.
That
And
does happen.
and it was a real thought in my brain. And I was actually afraid of me
Yeah.
for the longest time. And then I realized, no, you're breaking the cycle. You're not going to be a problem. You're breaking the cycle. You're different. You're not like those people.
Yeah.
You're going to be better.
Because I'm sure I mean, I don't know a percentage. I don't have percentages over here,
Me neither.
but I'm sure a huge amount of people that abuse
You know what? You
people,
Google it right now.
you could.
Let's chat fucking tea.
Yeah. I'm sure they have been abused
Mhm.
and they're doing it to get their power back or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, I don't think obviously that's always the case, but I could see that, especially if it's within a family, if it's within your family, like you said, like breaking a cycle,
About 30 to 70% of child sex abusers report sexual abuse in their own childhood. 70%. Yeah.
I mean, obviously some people are just born with something screwed up in their brains.
Yeah.
Obviously that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe that's how the whole beginning of it started, right? And then it's like,
yeah, that one crazy motherfucker that was born like that did it to his son, and then his son did it to his son, and then his son, and it was just ended up here where we are right now, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
But
so yours specifically, you mentioned was someone in your family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that happens a lot. Maybe we should have a percentage of how often does that happen.
Oh my God, that was scary. That would make me go pick up my daughter right now.
Okay. But for me and my story, it's not someone in my family.
I feel like that almost makes it worse because how the fuck did you trust a stranger?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I mean, you're going to trust like I trust you. You could do it to my daughter. And
but I'm saying that's what I mean. Like, are people naive?
Yes.
Or they think this person would never do that.
Have you ever seen Taken in Plain Sight?
No.
The one where they bring that guy over to their house and then he starts sleeping with their daughter and touching her and shit.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You never seen it?
I've seen like
Taken in Plain Sight?
I don't know what I've seen what it's called, where it's like where people are like pretending to be teenage girls online and then they show up and it's the police.
This is a family that becomes friends with another family that has almost the same amount of kids as they do. And the father quickly becomes infatuated with their 12-year-old daughter. And then he tells their family, then he starts having an affair with the mom and the dad.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that.
Okay.
And it was something like, and then he took her in like a camper and it was like a UFO.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was.
Yeah,
really
so they were
screwed up.
Googleable, Amanda.
That was, yeah, you were
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah.
do. I did see that. That
Okay.
was savage. If y'all haven't seen that, I don't know if you want to see it, but
it's
crazy.
what the fuck after another, what the fuck after another.
The thing, once it got to the dad, I'm like, what?
Every clip is a shocker.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And now that yes.
It was.
Jeez Louise.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But you see, at least in that instance, I'm not saying that was okay. By any means, of course, obviously. But like that dude was coming across like, wasn't he like
father?
In a
He had
church,
children,
like something like
yeah.
The dude that was in my like situation, like I don't know how like
how did he even come about? Where did he come?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm not 100% sure of the connection, but what I think it is my dad had this friend. I don't know how long they knew each other or how they knew, like maybe they went to school together for all I know. I don't know. He had this friend and that friend had another friend. And then, like at some point my dad was hanging out with his friend and the dude was there too.
Mm-hmm.
At least I think.
But why did he come live with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. So when I was like, I'm not 100% sure on the age. I don't know all the details. I think that's something too. Like if you're listening and you're like, I feel like this happened to me, but I don't have the details.
Your body knows what happened.
Maybe it didn't, but like you just.
There's no knowing.
I mean, part of it is you don't remember everything from your
Mhm.
childhood, good or bad, you know, and like maybe some little conversations that weren't super intense, maybe you just don't remember them.
Mhm.
But I don't remember all the details, but I just know that like probably at first he just came to like hang out here and there, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, cause my dad used to do, what would you call it? Like odd jobs,
Mhm.
right?
Like a jack of all trades.
yeah.
situation.
So like my dad had his day job.
Mhm.
And then he also like cut the lawn for the cemetery. I don't know if he did other lawns. I just know he did that one. And he had like a backhoe and bulldozer. So he went off and did like dirt or whatever. I don't know. I mean, obviously we knew Avon, but that definitely wasn't the connection. But I'm also thinking like maybe there was another connection. I don't even know. But like I feel like maybe he went with him. This guy like went with him. I mean, I'll say his name. I don't care.
You can say his fucking name.
His name was Ben.
Ben, you're a piece of shit.
I don't know how they built up a friendship, but somehow they knew each other. And like, I remember him like coming around a little bit and he just like, he was really tall. And when I say really tall, no, my dad was kind of short. So maybe he wasn't really tall, but of course I'm little. I remember him being tall and slender. And he had like,
Was he handsome?
no,
Okay.
no.
He was a like typical guy that when you see his picture, you know he's a child rapist.
100%.
100%. Like a child poster for that.
100%. I feel like his hair often was like shoulder length. And it was like almost, I remember him being really tan. And I feel like his hair color was like almost the color of his skin. Almost like a blondish red.
Oh, like golden and gold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he was just all kind of the same color. And he had glasses.
The serial killer glasses. Don't fuck with me.
I mean, I can't remember
The one with
exactly.
the aviators.
I know what you're talking
Oh
about.
my God.
That's what my dad wore, but he was not a serial killer.
I know.
That was the style.
I know.
Back probably in the
Serial
70s
killers
or
happen
80s.
to
He
wear.
had, my dad wore the same sunglasses for like ever. I don't know if his were like that. Maybe I just remember that he had
To see?
glasses. Yeah.
To see. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, to
Not
see.
sunglasses, like real
Like to
glasses.
see.
And so, you know, now I'm wondering about this actually. He had a bicycle.
Like a motorcycle?
No, a bicycle.
Oh. Was he homeless?
Exactly. And I think that's why he ended up, but I don't know for like all the time, but I think that's how he came to stay with us some. But I wonder maybe him and my dad used to like sit out on not
Porch?
the deck, but like, I don't know, like we had like a little swing in the yard, like not a kid swing,
I remember.
like a swing. They would like sit out there, drink beer together, like on the weekend or something. But now I'm wondering, like, was he an alcoholic? Did he have DUIs? Because he did not have a license. Or maybe he did. What do I know? But he wasn't driving. I mean, maybe he couldn't afford a car, but I don't recall.
I wish you knew his last name so we could look him up and see.
Oh, I do.
Oh, we should look him up.
I do. But he always had a bike. Always. Like, he always rode a bike. And again, I think I was like 6 or 7-ish when I first met him. I don't know. I don't know if I met him because I'd went before with my dad and my mom, like, because they were also friends with my dad's original friends' parents.
Mhm.
I don't think we were related to them, but somehow, like my mom knew. So we went to their house here and there and just like sat in their living room and chat, and that was so fun for me. So I don't know if maybe I met him over there at one point, even. I don't know, but he, like I said, he started coming over some. Eventually, he started staying at our house, like on our couch. Now, mind you. And maybe this is what, like, were my parents naive? Maybe not. I'm sure they were.
All slept in the same bed
As well. That's what I was going to say. But
where the fuck was he at?
so that's what I was going to say. So maybe they weren't concerned. Maybe that was part of their naivety, right? They're like, oh, we're together all the time. It's not going to, but I don't know if they were concerned. Certainly he'd been in jail before and certainly they knew that. I don't know what the reasons would have been for. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so growing up, I always slept in my parents' room.
Mhm.
Like the whole time he was there. I've slept out of my room twice, and that was when my friend stayed over.
Those are the times.
Those, of course, were the times. But other than that, like so maybe they're like, oh, you know, she's always
Not my bed.
our kids are always in our room, like whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't remember. I mean, this is like off topic, but on topic because I'm just trying to think of like how often he was at my house. I don't know if he had a job. Like, I don't remember him being there like 24/7.
I mean, you also went to school.
Yeah, but like I feel like I would come home and it was like my grandma, me, and my brother, and I don't remember him always being there. So I mean, I don't know what he was out doing. Maybe he did have a job. Maybe he was going somewhere. Maybe he wasn't staying with us all the time. Maybe it's like, can I again, I don't remember. Yeah. Let me crash on your couch for a few days, and then he goes and does it somewhere else. But I do know at some point, I don't know how old I was at this point. I don't know how long of
How long was this motherfucker in your
That's what I'm
life?
saying. I don't know. I want to say like he was kind of like in and out.
Okay.
I want to say somewhere between the ages of like 6 and 8 or 9. He was around, I feel like, between those ages. But
Because
that
he wasn't there when your dad passed.
I do not remember him being, I don't even know. He might have came to my dad's funeral, but I don't recall. I don't recall seeing him, but that doesn't mean anything. There was a lot of people there. And I was like little and, sad. But at one point he did, because my childhood home, like driveway, like a kind of long driveway, like towards the end where the mailboxes were. Yeah. There was like one of those small little campers. Oh, yeah. And he lived in that. Again, I don't know for how long. So I don't know why he moved into that. I don't know if.
Whose was it?
I guess it was his. We didn't have one.
Oh.
So I guess he
just parked it in your fucking yard?
I guess. Oh. Yeah. So again, So I don't know how often or how long he was actually in my house. But anyway, at some point during all this time, when my friends would stay over, and so my friends one of them were a year older than me and the other was 2 years older than me. So no one was really over 8 or 9. If I was 6, we're like 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. So we're all under 10. And at some point, this was back when people were looking at pornographic magazines, I mean, obviously there were like VHS tapes too, but like people weren't scrolling, on the internet.
And there wasn't the internet to scroll on.
No, there was no. Well, maybe not for the public.
Not for the good old poor people.
No, surely not. So he had. It would have been one of the night. And my friends did not stay the night at my house like often at all because I always wanted to sleep with my parents. I felt very afraid to be.
You know what? Can I cut in on this?
Yeah.
I love how the girl's parents let her spend the night when they know there's a damn stranger in the fucking house.
Yeah, I don't know if they knew. I would think so. They would have seen him ride his bike in and out all the time.
Yeah.
And the only people who lived on the other end of the street was my family. Like it was their family on the beginning.
Yeah.
And mine. Maybe they knew him too. I mean, my parents and their parents were not like friends.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't dislike each other. They would say hi, but they didn't we weren't all getting together for a neighborhood barbecue.
Yeah.
So maybe they just trusted them. You know what I mean? And which kind of like the situation with my child, send them somewhere I trust. And then, sometimes you don't have it. But then again, that's why you don't want your kid to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So I get it.
Like a motherfucking wolf.
I get it. So anyway, at some point during a sleepover, I don't know if the first time that it had ever been discussed or shared with the porn. I don't know if I'm assuming the first time that happened was at a sleepover. That would have been the first time.
I told Amanda that he had to tell her, you can't tell anybody.
But I feel like that would have been the first time that he was probably alone with us during the day, maybe in my yard he was on me, but I doubt he's walking.
Yeah, hand you a porn.
Right, walking in broad daylight. Here's a porn. I mean, it's a little fun. That's a fake scenario, so it's so funny.
Even if,
but I mean, and I don't recall
when you think about it later.
Yeah, right. But I really don't recall what he said around. Obviously, it's to groom you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, that it's all about grooming. So clearly up to that point, we had, I wouldn't say a friendship. I don't know what we would have called our he used to hang out with my brother and I.
Oh my God.
Again, not my parents were not leaving me alone. He was not babysitting us. So we weren't alone with him, but obviously we could all be at my yard and maybe he was pushing us on the swing or something. I don't know. I'm saying things like that must have happened so that we at least felt we could chat with him.
That's what I feel like I told her that something.
Yeah, we clearly, like I said, he had a bicycle. We had, but who knows? I don't remember. Maybe we rode bicycles up and down my drive. Whatever they do to bond with you.
They start grooming you by playing with you.
Yeah. So, and to me, I mean, I'm a grown up now. I don't know what my parents thought. They never told me, but I would definitely be feeling a little suspicious about that.
Yeah.
Why would a grown man want to hang out with my children? It's not like they're related. If it's, although we know it can happen in your family, but it would make a little more sense if my brother wanted to push my kid on the swing. That's his niece or nephew. Yeah. I don't have any children that I birthed, but still, just my random friend, girls do that. I know maybe it shouldn't be more normalized, but
I don't know. But I don't know because I do have friends from my farm that I've literally grew up with. And if he came and picked up my daughter, I wouldn't be uncomfortable. Because I've literally grew up with him. Like I think we probably slept on the same bed. We've known each other our entire lives. So that kind of friend, I don't know, like me and you.
Yeah.
Because you're a female, you could also rape my child.
I mean, it's true. That's true.
And I trust you.
It's not like
but you know, I wouldn't leave Renata with that guy, but I wouldn't be creeped out if he like picked her up.
Yeah.
You know? But this is a stranger that's apparently homeless, so.
Yeah. So yeah, he obviously showed us the magazines. That's how we got them.
Mm-hmm. That was risk.
Yeah. I don't remember what the conversation was about. I'm sure it would be like, hey, look, this is fun. You know what I mean? I'm sure that was the goal.
This is for grown-ups.
Yeah. I know at some point he did mention a story of like him doing something with a little girl before. Yeah. I don't remember the details of it. I just know that he definitely told a story about that. I don't know if that was like that night.
Have you ever thought about contacting that girl?
Who, my friends that were there?
Yeah.
And saying what? Do you remember this? Oh, I feel like we talked about it when we were teenagers. Not when I say teenagers, like middle school. Like
they were a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you asked them, hey,
we revisited it when we were like teenagers. Like, wasn't that really screwed up? Like,
that was very.
I know we talked because there was a time that we weren't friends, but then we became friends again when we were all in middle school together. And we talked. I mean, we didn't have like a full blown. We're like, yeah, remember how screwed up that was, like that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm sure they remember, but we're not close anymore. I don't even know if I'm connected with them in any kind of way. So there was that conversation, and then he like told us like, oh, you know, go look out your window. Like, so like he'd given us the magazines, whatever. I guess we'd been chatting at this point because we were like in the living room. We're supposed to be in my room. So we did go to my room. I remember we went to my room and we're like, well, okay, this is kind of weird. And like we went to a room and we locked my door because we're like, this, yeah, like we're already like, this is like a little weird. Like, not like, oh my God, he's going to do anything. But
you locked your door for
we didn't,
what?
I don't know, for safety? I don't know.
Who? From him?
But yeah, because he was like out and about.
Okay.
Or there's a chance, and I don't recall. And if this is true, then it's screwed up too. Maybe my parents told me to lock my door to go to bed.
Yeah.
Imagine they could have.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling like that, then probably don't let my friends stay over or make us all sleep in the corner of your room. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of weird if you're like, why are my kids going to sleep in the corner of your room? I don't know. But I had my own bed in my parents' room. Like we could have slept over there. But I don't know. I don't know if they said lock your door or if I or my friend, if our instincts were like, lock the door. I don't know. I remember that we did. And then maybe I don't know if he like said, go look out your window, like before we went to our room. Or my room, or if he just knocked on my window. Mm-hmm. So like, okay, what? And then he was like touching himself, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? We didn't say what the fuck, but obviously we're like, what is going on? And you know, like, it's not like I was telling Nancy, it was like a little funny when we were talking about it earlier, because it's not, I'm like, oh, we like made it like a show. We weren't like over here with binoculars, like, oh, what's going on? But I mean, we're, you know, it's almost like a shock, and you're like trying to figure out like what, we didn't know what was going on. I had not seen anything like that before. And I'm assuming my friend didn't act like they'd ever seen anything like that before. So it's just like, you're like,
that's sad.
You're like, what? And then it's like, okay, close the window. That's kind of weird. And I don't remember seeing or talking to him like that same day, like after
this was
that.
Daytime or nighttime?
No, nighttime. But okay, so yeah, nighttime. I don't remember like we went back out and like, okay, let's recap. Or not.
Let's recap.
First we saw the porn, then you told stories, and then we saw you like it wasn't like that. I just think like we're like, okay, so weird, and we just went to bed. But like you said, there must have certainly been some time
not to tell
that he said not, you know, like we don't need to mention this. I don't remember him saying that, but certainly that was said in some way.
A 6-year-old's not going to know. Like to me, what happened to me?
Kids are honest; they'll tell you everything.
What happened to me? A child did it.
Yeah,
but you, a full grown ass man, he had to tell you not to tell anybody, Amanda.
Well, yeah, but I just don't recall.
Yeah,
it. But I'm certain. Yeah, I do remember my friends and I thought like this is obviously screwed up, like it's weird, and I know so I guess the moral of the story here is I'm sure there was more than that one. Like I said, the story he was saying about like whatever he did with a little girl sometimes. I feel like we had that conversation outside in my yard. I think it was he and I alone, not like alone, but I mean like my friends weren't there. I don't remember, but I'm saying I don't feel like this was like this one incident.
No.
that it was ever brought up.
He was building
Like,
trust.
maybe he was sharing different pornos with me. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's like, next week, here's a new porn. I don't know.
I have a
Like, let's
question.
trade.
I have a question.
Okay. I don't know if I have an answer.
You probably don't. Do you think there is some place in your head where more, because I know something more happened to me. I don't want to know it though. But do you have a feeling in your heart that more happened?
Like, in terms of being touched, no, because I was never ever alone with him. I mean, obviously like that night, but my friend was there. Like, we were, and then we went to bed and locked the door. I was never left alone with him.
Why do you think that when that happened, you didn't run to tell your dad?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, at some point,
because you didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
So it's like it could have been innocent.
Like you said, maybe at some point he's like, don't.
He'd have to tell
obviously
you.
Don't say anything.
He had to, because if you're innocent, as an innocent child, like my daughter went and told my ex that I have a podcast. I didn't want him to fucking know that, but we don't keep secrets.
Yeah.
So she just told him.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. So he had to tell you that it was not, that you couldn't tell somebody.
Yeah. Because as far as I know, my friends never told their parents either, because you would think if they did, their parents would have been.
There was other people there. Like, how come nobody told anybody?
Their parents would have been at my door.
Yeah,
like,
hopefully.
What's going on?
Well, it was the 90s, so
I mean,
never mind.
I think they would. I didn't know them super well, but I think they would have.
The fact that they let you spend the night and they didn't even know you super well.
Yeah, I think they would have, but I think they would have come with some questions. But I don't know. I do know at one point that we had talked about, like, we need to, like, I remember like putting like baby powder on my door, like, let's dust for prints. Like, we were detectives. Like, can we get some print? Like, in case, like, what if he came to our door in the night? You know, we're like, we don't know if he did, but we were like, we were looking for evidence.
How old are you again?
I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 9, or probably 6 and 8, somewhere between 6 and 8.
And you knew about evidence and handprints?
Yeah, I read a lot of stories. Not dirty, like a mystery. Like a mystery. Like, let's get, or maybe it was one of their ideas.
I knew that. So it makes me think that you knew it was wrong. It wasn't innocent. So like I said, because you're a child, and when you're a child, you don't know if something's wrong or right. Or is it instinct, you think?
I don't know.
Like, as like,
or maybe one of them. They were older. They were a little older. And who's to say something like that hadn't happened? I don't remember them saying this. I've never seen anything like this, but I don't know. So I know at some point we had even talked about, like, we talked about telling our parents. And again, maybe this is something he said, or maybe we came up with it. I feel like I knew, like, my dad had a gun. Mm-hmm. And so, like, see, how would I get to this? I don't know. But I feel like I was concerned that my dad would kill him. Mm-hmm. So obviously I knew it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Or conversations with my friends or him. I don't know. And this Ben, he used to walk around with these, like, a machete on his hip. Yeah, he was crazy. I'm telling you, he's crazy. He had, like, knives. And so I think I used to always have this fear, like, if I tell, somebody's going to get killed or somebody's going to be in jail. Like, I think I had the fear of either, like, they're going to get into a fight, and what if my dad gets killed? I don't want that. Or what if my dad kills him and goes to jail? And I didn't want that. So
I feel like Ben told you that.
I mean, yeah.
That sounds like a big story for 8, 7.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't recall having that conversation. But
in the 90s, I mean, the kids right now, yeah, they're fucking geniuses. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, we were so
I definitely recall thinking about it.
Yeah.
And again, maybe the thoughts came because of what was said. I don't remember a conversation, but I remember thinking about it. And then Nancy wants me to share it. I'll share it if she thinks it's important.
I do.
So, and I don't know how long after, if it was like immediately after, if it was, I don't remember when it happened, but so, like, because of this, I'm saying because of this exposure, and
I think it was.
Now we've seen
100%.
Right? Like, now we've seen these porno magazines where people are, like, touching themselves. And so then, like, the friends that were there were like, oh, and then, like, so we touched each other too. Not like we weren't over here doing, like, penetration or something like that, but I know, like, we touched each other's parts. Like,
yeah.
How can I explain it? Like, it's almost like more like, I feel like if you were at a doctor examining something, like, it wasn't like we were getting off on each other kind of thing. It was like, we're just checking stuff out, which that's not normal to do on other people. There is a phase in your own development where you start kind of checking your own self out and learning stuff, but not like at other people at those ages. But I don't know how soon, like I said, because they didn't stay the night at my house very often.
And I know, because you said we were touching each other, but you were the youngest there.
Yeah, I was.
So you're
there.
still the victim.
Well, but they are too.
No, they are too of that man.
But yeah,
and then you became the victim of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that, like I said, hurt people.
Yeah.
That was, like I said, that was like one of my biggest fears. Like, yeah. But I feel like it is relevant because I feel like if that man had never taken your innocence away, because he took your innocence away, there's no fucking need for you to be looking at fucking porn.
No, of course.
At that age. And that's, there's just no need. You would have never known about that.
Yeah.
You would have never gotten to that point. You would have been playing dolls with your fucking friends.
I still did that.
That's
well, there's another girl I thought of that was my neighbor that's not associated with this at all. Uh-huh. She was like older than my other oldest friend. So she was like, or maybe the other. She was like,
I didn't even touch you, bitch.
She didn't like touch me, but like she kissed me. I forgot about that until you were talking about your story. Cause we had like made these little like, with sheets, like in between, like, so the land that's like my grandma's house, go down the hill, and then my driveway right here. And she lived where the lived, and we'd put up like little sheets, and we were like she had a brother. I don't like, we were like literally just playing innocently. And then at some point, like we were playing like, playing house. And like she went to work and she came home and like kissed me like, oh honey, I'm home. But it felt like it turned like nobody was like naked or penetrating anything, but like I feel like there was like caressing. But yes, I would have had a much because I feel like that situation made me like, as not like right then, but like as I got older, and I say older, like maybe when I was like 13, I just remember feeling like I can't wait to have sex when I mean, there was nobody I was having sex with at that age, but like I wanted to know what that was like so bad. From probably obviously because I see it. Well, and also after that, like I feel like I was super interested in trying to get my hands on pornography. I feel like I definitely had like a little porn addiction going on. Like we had one of those cable boxes that could get some dirty channels. Yeah. And obviously my parents weren't letting me watch those. Yeah. But like I remember waking up early, like on a Saturday morning. Like my parents were, my grandma was there, but she would like be like in bed as like she would come down like early in the morning, just go back to sleep, right, and get up. But I would like get up early, and I don't even like to get up early. I am not a morning girly.
She is not.
But I would get up early to go watch like this, like it wasn't like a hardcore porn, but it was, actually no, maybe some of them were like whatever they had.
How old were you?
I mean, that probably happened between ages like, I don't know, probably like 9, 10. At that point, I already was super into like, I wanted to consume the porn.
He did that.
Well, yeah, I know that, obviously.
I want to find him on the internet.
Okay. Hopefully he's dead.
No, I hope he's alive so we can do good shit to him. But the person that did it to me has a shitty ass life, and she deserves it. But we don't know I want to know.
I don't know what happened to him.
Oh my God.
The last time that I saw him was actually I think it was like probably 18 or 19. And I remember leaving, where we moved. So it wasn't my old house. He didn't know where we even lived. We lived just the road over. But I was like going to work one day and I saw his bike ride by. He was on his bike riding by. Yeah.
On his fucking bike.
Yeah. He's always on his bike. And so like, I don't like to see bikes like that for the longest time. Actually, I think now it's probably okay. But for the longest time, like seeing dudes on bikes freaked me out. I was like,
still on a bike?
I don't know. I mean,
still on a bike right now.
That was like
ran over.
I mean, that would have been like what 15 or more years ago that I saw him on a bike. I mean, yeah, more than that.
Motherfucker still on a bike. What a loser.
About 20 years ago, he was still on a bike. I don't know how old he
was. He deserves it.
I don't know how old he was. I'm assuming he was around my parents' age, but I don't know that for sure. Oh, but so I did at some point because I mean, I feel like those kind of things eat you alive.
They do.
I mean, even though
they do,
I really. Nancy says possible. I used to think, did I suppress it? Then I'm like, I talked to my therapist about it. I mean, we haven't went really in depth on it, but we talked about like, did I tell my parents, like, and what happened and all of that. And I don't remember ever being touched, and I don't remember there even being a possibility we would have been alone for that to happen.
But there has to be a possibility of her or him. I just tell you that it's not okay. And here's some porn. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, well, but those were the first stages of. Well, the first stages of grooming was to get me to just to trust him as a person. And then that was the next layer. And he never got to the next layer because so he was giving me the magazines. As I said, I didn't sleep in my room. But I kept it. I don't know if he told me to put it under my bed, if I put it under my bed, but there was a porn, right? And it was under my bed in my room. However, I didn't sleep in my room. So, I actually had, I think they were my cousins. They needed a mattress, and I didn't use mine because I had a bed in my parents' room. So they came to get it, and they found the magazines. And obviously, they knew I didn't go out to the store and buy it. So I don't remember having any conversation with them whatsoever. I'm not saying I didn't. It's possible we did. But I don't remember having any conversation with them about it. But I just remember that Ben didn't come back anymore, and no one said why. And I'm not saying that happened right away. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I just know also around that time that he did not come back anymore. So I'm assuming that they're like, what the fuck? And they got rid of him. That's my assumption. I don't know if that's what happened, but
I want you to ask.
That's my assumption. I don't know if I want to ask her.
I know you don't.
I feel
you don't
like
have to ask her. I want to know. That doesn't mean that you have to.
I feel, well, I mean, I want to know too, I guess, but
because I feel like you have a more open relationship with your mom now than I do with my mom. So you're afraid of offending her. I know, but
yeah, I think my mom has had a lot of burden on her.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like I don't want
her to feel guilty about something
when there's something that can't change it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that my mom and I had somewhat of a discussion around it when I was like in middle school. I just remember like being on my living room floor, like we were playing a board game or something. And somehow the topic came up, not like, were you touched or did you see porn? Not like that, but I don't, maybe it was his name brought up in general. And maybe I was just like, I'm not trying to see that dude. I don't know why it was brought up, but I feel like, and again, I don't know if I like went in depth, but I swear I told her something. I don't remember what I said, or maybe I believe I told her something and I didn't, but I feel like I did. Now, I will say my like close friends, I've never been shy about sharing the story. Like growing up, not every best friend I ever had, but like I had a guy best friend from like 4th grade till like, actually told like about high school. And like I told him, he knew.
You told me right away.
I told you. I told my first boyfriend. Well, not my first, no, not the one from church. I don't know if he knew or not. But like my first love, I told him. Yeah. I've told it. I think I've actually told every single partner, not partner. Okay. Scratch that. Every single like, well, that's another thing too. I think I was a little promiscuous there for a minute. And I think obviously it's tied to that.
Absolutely
I think
it's tied to that.
But the people that I've like loved, been in relationships with,
I think that we also learned, because Amanda and I I think we were very, I don't even know how to word this, like we felt connection through sex. Because I remember when you dated that douchebag, how you felt like so connected. You were upset when sex wasn't there. Like, we're not connected now. And I feel like that's also part of it too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not wanted. It's like I'm so sexual. I feel like we're very sexual beings as well. I mean, I don't think I consider myself a promiscuous person. I didn't, but I do feel that when I'm with somebody, it's like I want to have sex all the time.
Yeah. I don't feel that way anymore. Maybe
because you're in a safe place now.
Maybe.
You don't need to be showing off with your sex to keep a man.
Yeah.
He's already kept.
But for a lot of my relationships, I definitely felt that way. Actually, in the beginning of this relationship, I felt that way.
But now you're safe.
I don't anymore.
No, you haven't complained about that much, but I know why.
Yeah.
But I don't know what how much it has to do with that validation of that because of that trauma.
Yeah. But that's it. So now I know there's some anonymous stories that we'll have to share. Just people who they're not telling their story yet. They've told their stories, but obviously not here on a podcast.
No, obviously.
But we have their permission to share their stories anonymously, just for more. It's unfortunate we have these examples, but like again, they're like I said, we have two very different circumstances.
Yeah, we do.
And a lot of people do. There's some patterns and trends, but.
And also I feel like some of the times, some of the kids didn't even think those things were abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, because the thing with me and the girl, like I never thought me and the girls like quote unquote exploring, examining each other. I never put that in the category of abuse. My mind. I never did.
It is 100. And talking about that, I was telling Amanda that I heard of a story of like, I think it was like a group of little kids, like of all ages, 13, 14, 15 to 8, 10. And there was like a sibling friendship there. I mean, a siblings there. I think one of them was like 10, the other one was like 12 or 8, something like that. And apparently they were all like playing spin the bottle, and there was like even 18-year-olds in the situation. And the one of the bigger kids made out with one of the little kids or kissed one of the little kids, and they didn't think that was abuse. And I'm just like, the fuck it is. The fuck it is.
Yeah,
that
of
is
course.
150% abuse.
Yeah.
Even at 12, even if, to me, a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old, that's still abuse.
Yeah, that's a big
ass
age
gap. Like there, why are you as an 18-year-old man in a circle of spin the bottle with where there's an 8-year-old?
Yeah, seriously.
There's an 8-year-old
Yeah.
piece of shit. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So that's one of the stories. Another story that I have is a young girl who used to go over to her friend's house to play, and the girl had siblings, and the siblings would pull her pants down, and the friend would sit there and watch. She was a little bit older, not much. They would like pull her pants down and do stuff to her. Never penetration or anything like that. And then later on, the friend also did stuff to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like that. And then all of that is normalized. And I feel like it took so long for these people to wake up and be like, oh my God, I was abused. That is not okay. Someone tore my pants down. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And the fact that we couldn't go and just tell our parents.
Well, I think part of it went back to what I was saying earlier. Like, how could
Nobody's going to believe us.
I didn't have the confidence that my parents would think it's true because they didn't believe me over something little.
And I just feel like back in the day,
or it's like an adult, well, in my situation, kids versus kids, it's still, you could be having that fear. But in my situation too, is like, are they going to believe an adult or are they going to believe me?
Are they going to believe some
I
fucking
don't
homeless
know.
guy or are they going to believe me?
Right. I mean, as an adult, I'm thinking that they would have believed me.
No, yeah. No, yes. 100% yes.
They would have believed me.
Yeah, because
but at the time,
he was a pillar of the community, maybe not.
Right.
But
yeah, it wasn't like we were going to church.
Yeah, and he was a pastor.
Obviously, that can happen as well.
Yeah,
but I get, you know what I mean? Like, that seems like it wouldn't be you could, like, but this dude that's probably been in jail and, you know, whatever, obviously doesn't have his life together. If he needs to crash on your couch, maybe you would believe that.
Well, actually, I have a story about that. The biggest story that it just haunts me is a 7-year-old little girl, I guess innocently told the school what was happening to her. Her uncle had been abusing her, but actually like full blown. And the school called the parents, and the parents confronted the uncle, and the uncle admitted to it, and nothing was done.
He even admitted?
He admitted to it.
He lived in their house?
No, he would come for Sunday dinners.
Okay.
And he admitted to it. And then after that, guess what? He was still allowed to come to Sunday dinners.
And her family left her alone with him?
Yep.
Why? It's like, why?
So and this little girl has said, because she's always had I feel bad for her because I almost feel good for us. I feel good for us because whatever did happen to us or didn't happen to us, we don't remember. Our body remembers, but she remembers. She says she has memories of being in diapers and being touched.
Oh my God.
So, and he was still allowed to come. And nobody did anything. Her mom knew, her dad knew. The church knew.
Situations.
No one did anything. The school knew.
I was going to say those are, and I think those are a lot of reasons why people don't say anything. They're like, if I tell you, will something happen? But this is clearly speculation. It almost makes me feel like in those situations, like I wonder if one of the parents, if there was like family, so that they've already learned to just, you got to let it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like within your family. And so not that they're saying, I don't know what these people were thinking, but maybe they weren't saying it's okay, but maybe it's like, this is normal because no one told them. At some point when you're an adult, you think you would realize this is not normal, but maybe some people get brainwashed. It's like the Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. I don't know if it's not an excuse,
but I do know that
I wonder if that's why
that little girl went on to have a really bad life.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. As a grown up.
That sucks.
Yeah, because I feel like nobody took care of you. Nobody protected you. The people that were supposed to protect you, you did tell someone.
Right. Like your parents knew, the school
and
knew,
then it continued to happen. Can you imagine? Oh my God, that just literally gives me, like, I feel like a feeling of like claustrophobia.
Mm.
Oh my God. You know, like,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I already told somebody, I cannot get out.
Trapped.
Yeah. I can't
tell you not being able, maybe if it's not even physically trapped, you can't say it. It's,
yeah.
Cause we were working on something earlier with me about feeling trapped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's
related.
Yeah. Like I feel like that must have been really upsetting. Like how the fuck I told someone and no one gave a fuck, and it continued to happen to me. So you know what? Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Who gives a fuck?
That's very like,
and then we go on to judge these women. Oh, she's a whore. She sleeps with everybody. Blah, 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 blah.
That would feel so like, you'd feel so defeated.
Yeah. Like what?
Because as a child, you can't just, as an adult, you can leave.
That gives me massive anxiety.
Yeah. It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
I will let you guys know that I never, ever, this is triggering for me. I never, ever listened to anything about kids' sexual abuse. Like I never watch anything. I never, when my sister-in-law tells me stories, I'm like, did anybody get raped? And if it was a child, I don't want to know about it. Like I just, what other story did I have? I do have another story of a young girl that said that her mom, worked at night and, she was left alone with a caregiver and her siblings. And she said that it was a little bit past her bedtime, and she went and asked the caregiver if they could stay up a little bit later. She said she was 7 or 8, and he raped her. And she said, this is what scares me the most. I feel like it scared me a lot. That she showed zero signs of being abused. She said that she was a happy-go-lucky kid who was always upbeat and super blah, 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 blah. You know how they say, look for signs, look for this.
That sounds like me.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah.
And she said that there was no signs. She was like, I act like it never happened. Like the next day, like you just walked out of the fucking house. Like I didn't happen to me yesterday.
Well, maybe sometimes that's like a coping mechanism, right? Like sometimes it feels easier to pretend it didn't happen.
But she did say that that's what led her to be reckless as a teenager and to get in cars with random dudes and just not give a fuck.
Well, and I don't know this person to know, but like, I feel like when you do that, when you choose to do that, it's like you're taking power. Like you have power. Like I'm choosing to go sleep like me, right? Like I decided in college to be like a little hoe for a minute. Right? Like I'm deciding that. Yeah, it's fine.
It's my journey. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's my body. You don't get to fucking take it from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, she said that. She said that she believes that that's one of the main reasons why she acted her whole life the way she acted, because she was so enraged by what had happened to her and that nobody would have believed her anyway. So it didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any stories?
I don't.
Says none of her friends been raped. I'm like, damn, you lucky bitch.
No, I was saying there's one friend I have. I'm not going to share her story. I did not get permission or to share her story, but who has shared some kind of like abuse with me. But other than that one person, no one has ever told me. That doesn't mean people in my life haven't been, but maybe it hasn't come up at game night or dinner times,
I was telling Amanda that I don't know why people always tell me their shit like that, like deep shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why. But I do know I know more women's stories than I know men's stories for sure.
Right.
And there is men's stories.
And I'm sure there's more shame around a man being, I feel like they're probably, there's plenty of shame for women. But I feel like it is a different psychological level for men I think probably. I
do have a story though. My says, I don't think she would mind if you know what? I'll say it, and if she minds, I'll cut it. So my had this boyfriend that she was obsessed with, like in love with. She was right out of high school, fucking obsessed with him. And he moved to California with his mom, and he was playing video games, and his 3-year-old little cousin walked in the room and he raped her.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I thought this story was going, but that one is.
Yeah. And you thought he was going to be raped, huh? No, he's a rapist. Mm. And he only got 5 years.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. The judge in California, if you sexually offend a child, it's 25 to life. But the judge said that it wasn't his fault, that he was playing video games when the little girl walked in.
What does that have to do with absolutely anything?
Yeah. So he was basically saying the little girl provoked him.
Oh my God. No. So if people do this to people, it's because they're screwed up.
He admitted to the little girl walking into the garage, him getting aroused and walking up to the garage door and locked it and abused her. And then he heard outside people frantically looking for this 3-year-old because she wasn't nowhere to be fucking found. And then finally he opened the door and the parents took her. They didn't think much of it. But then the little girl kept telling her mommy that her down there hurted. Mm-hmm. And the mom was like, hell no. So he took her to the fucking doctor. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, she had been abused.
Wow.
But it was the little girl's fault because she's the one that walked in on this boy playing video games. So he gave him 5 years. He gave him 5 years.
Wow.
So this is why we don't talk. Like, why the fuck?
Yeah.
Even when you do get caught. You know how many sex offenders there's in my hometown, motherfucker? I looked them up. Oh my God.
Oh, you looked it up?
Yes, because when I was dating.
Maybe the guy I know is probably on it.
Oh my God. You know, we should look. When I was dating, I went to see that person's name wasn't on it. Yeah. I have to.
Yeah.
So there's so fucking many, like an insane amount of sexual offenders in my hometown. Like a goddamn amount.
Not even a big town.
No.
I mean, it's not a little town, but it's not a big town.
Yeah. So fucking many. And most of them, some of them were statutory rape, which is like a underage with a 21-year-old with a 18, whatever, with a 17, but most of them were child molestation. Like recently, in one of the counties next to us, a bus driver got caught grooming a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And they told people. And no one did anything about it until it was too late.
Yeah. Like that's the other part of not sharing, because especially if you've heard a story of someone who shared and nothing happened like that, mm-hmm. right? Like you feel like, why am I going to put myself out there? And then people know this secret.
And now you're the dirty one.
Yeah. That's awful.
Yeah. Like you're the one that like somehow has not like now there's something wrong with you. Now you're tainted. Mm-hmm. And in some way, not that we're tainted, but I feel like in some way it affects us for the rest of our lives.
It ruins you. Can you heal? Of course.
Yeah.
Can you get through it? Of course. But can you have a healthy sexual relationship? Mm-hmm. Of course. But it'll screw you up.
And I feel like it takes something away from you and you can never get it back.
Yeah, for sure. My innocence was robbed when I was freaking in elementary school. Like mm-hmm. that is, I should have been worried about just coloring, mm-hmm. like maybe watching some cartoons. I don't know. Definitely not
waking up at 6 a.m. to watch porn.
To watch some porn. Exactly.
No. And it's just like, I feel like if we all talked about it more and healed. Like my thing is, because I know that like we saw some of those people, most of those people are also abused. I feel like by talking about it and being open about it, and I feel like if all those men that were out here abused because they were abused, so if they, because my sister-in-law told me one time that abusers abuse because they think it's normal, and if they thought it wasn't normal, then they can't fathom the idea that something bad happened to them.
Yeah.
Like their body can't accept that something bad happened to them. And it also mind rapes me, no pun intended, that my inner child was able to handle that abuse, but my grown-up cannot. My grown-up doesn't want to know about it.
Right.
And that makes me a pussy. I'm a pussy. I don't want to know about it. What I know is enough.
Yeah, because it's almost like
She's protecting
mentally, because you understand things
Yeah.
more as an adult. Mentally,
Oh my God.
you know, as a kid, as a kid, maybe you're like, oh, this is wrong, this is weird, this is whatever, but you don't understand the full implications. But now as an adult, you will.
Yeah. So I even when I have conversations with my inner child, I'm like, I love you and everything, bitch, but I don't want to know.
No.
And not this lifetime, another fucking lifetime. That's great. I just don't. I mean, all I can do now is take care of you, love you, protect you, make sure that you're okay, get you help. But I don't want to know. I don't want to know the details. I don't. I mean, I can't do anything about it now anyway.
But I think back to when I lost my virginity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no business doing that either.
I was, surprisingly, I know you know your date of when it happened for you. I don't know.
It's coming up.
Celebrate. I don't know. I feel like I was like 15 and a half.
Me too.
Which obviously is way too young.
Absolutely.
But I feel like a lot of teenagers do lose their virginity young. But then again, is it because, is this why?
Yeah.
Why else would why not?
It's not normal.
I mean, I feel like there is a pressure in high school, oh, you're a prude, but also you're a little prude.
But you were prude now. They're past that.
But also, I feel like obviously that's way too young.
It was way too young.
You can't understand. You don't even understand you don't even know how to do it.
I feel like that's why we were so traumatized when we got dumped.
Yeah.
Because we had that. I mean, if you really think about it, like for you had lost your father. Your mom wasn't really present. He was your lifeline. And for me, my parents were literally non-existent. He was my lifeline.
Mm-hmm.
So when we lost and then we had that connection, that physical connection, we thought that was love, which I still think it was, even though it might not be because we were teenagers. I don't go fuck what anybody says.
No, it was.
It was love.
Some instances for people out there weren't, but ours were true.
We loved it.
Yes.
When they got ripped away, oh my God, our worlds ended.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Teenagers go through breakups all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them seem very unaffected. And some of them obviously hurtful, and then they move on.
Ours were medical.
Yeah, this was bad.
Medical. And I feel it's because we just had that, I don't know.
I know what I wanted to say.
Okay.
It's just random, but it's so if anyone's listening and you are my friend, or I guess even if you're not and you somehow want to contact us,
you can.
Please
someone make a comment. You're listening, please.
We do have an email.
Mm-hmm.
It's bitchesbecray@gmail.com, and I can put it in the show notes, but it's bitchesbecray, and the I in bitches is a 1 because Gmail was like, no, you can't say bitches. But I doubt you wanna, I don't know, if you just need to, not that we would share your story, I'm just saying if you just need to say it to somebody and you feel like you have no one, you can email it to us, just, so you get
or even if you want to have a question of, I do have another person that got put in a relationship at 12 years old by her guardian with a 19-year-old man by force. And she never thought it was abuse. It is what it is. Because sometimes you don't know. So if you don't even know if it's abuse and you want to talk to somebody to be like, hey, do you think this is abuse? You're more than welcome to. Like, oh, you want one of your friends if they happen.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying if you're somebody that I know personally and you're like, I really want to share my story with a partner, not for the podcast, just because.
And we're not gonna tell anybody.
Just because,
not gonna tell me either.
Just because you want to talk, and now you're like, oh, Amanda has had an experience, it's not, you know what I mean? Oh, I know something else I want to say, but I'll go back to that. But yeah, you can, and if you just want to chat with me about it, because that happened when I talked about ADHD.
Yeah.
One of my friends was like, oh, I've considered maybe somebody I know has ADHD, blah, blah, blah. So, because, you just don't know if you can or want to talk to someone. If you need to talk to someone about it and you don't know who to talk to about it, you can talk to me about it.
But yeah, if you guys.
Well, these were our stories plus some stories that we had permission to share. And again, we just wanted to remind you, if this has happened to you, like, you are not alone. And there's power in sharing your story. And also, if you are not in therapy, you might want to consider that. I will say, in my personal life with therapy, I have walked through the story basically as I did here with you. We did kind of like try to find out, why did I not tell my parents? So you mentioned earlier about how talking about sex in general was really taboo in your family.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the same for me. I did have this book. We had a bookshelf, an actual bookshelf in my house with books on it. And I had this book. It was for kids. It was called Talking About Sex and Growing Up. Now, you were probably meant to read it with guidance of a parent.
You read it by yourself?
Yeah. No one, I just at some point discovered it. And it's for children. It is for children. It's not inappropriate. It just explains some about your period. It explains some stuff. Cause some parents are not gonna, and I feel like I learned stuff in that book that I did not know about.
Did your mom tell you about your period?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. My mom didn't either.
I don't think so.
Not either.
I mean, obviously she knew I got it because then she had to buy me some items, but I don't think she warned me it was coming.
Oh my God.
I feel like I knew though, because
can somebody tell me if their mom fucking told them about their period? Because everybody I know, their mom didn't tell them about their period either.
My child's mom told her about her period.
Besides her, she's a new age. I'm talking about our age.
Oh, okay. But I guess I was just saying, I feel like the fact that, I mean, obviously I didn't need my parents to go around talking about sex with me, but the way
one conversation, bare minimum, bitch,
that you have talked to your daughter.
Yeah.
I wish I had that, because then I think things would have been different. I would have probably felt okay to say something because it wouldn't be so weird to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anyone said, let's don't talk about sex around here, but also no one was.
They didn't give you the talk.
It's there's somewhere, I feel like some people think it's really inappropriate to talk about sex with kids, and obviously it is in some ways, but there's also a place where you have to say some stuff to,
I mean, I don't know if
protect your children.
Because my friend's pediatrician told her when her daughter turned 12, hey, it's time for you to give her the sex talk.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, bitch.
So for me and my children, I mean, the older one, her mom took care of that, but the one that lived with me, the reason the talk came up is because he'd heard something at school from other kids, and he had I'm glad he felt safe to come ask questions. So I'm like, well, I guess we're going to have this conversation, because you're already getting exposed, unfortunately. So, but okay, back to the other stuff. So, these were our stories, and the stories we were
given permission to
share for others. And we know there's sadly a lot more stories out there. We also want to say that this is the last episode of season 1. This is episode number 20.
We've made it almost a whole year, guys. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for all the listeners, all the plays. We watch the numbers rise every week, and
we're so happy.
It is so exciting. We are not doing this to be rich or famous. I mean, if that happens, cool.
Yay!
But it's just there's a lot of people out there doing podcasts that are really great and sharing really good information. Yeah. And there's a lot out there that feels very Instagrammy. Is this true? Do you really live by this? And I mean, we're not really giving you much advice. It's more so just
this one's not advice. This one's,
yeah, for sure not this one. Well, I said you should.
Most of them are advice. You don't think so?
I mean, yes. I feel like our main advice, which I did mention in this episode, was, but maybe seek therapy. Those are the two things that we say, right? We share our stories to be if you're saying no one's ever had their heart broken like me, no one understands. I mean, no one understands your unique situation, but we've had our heart broken. We've had parenting fuck ups. We've had
addiction,
toxic friendship, addiction, food issues,
fucked up breakups,
abuse.
Mental illness.
It's just nice to know.
Depression.
Yeah.
The list goes on. We're
anxiety, ADHD. I mean, come on.
We're just a fucking mess.
It's just sometimes it it feels comforting to know other people went through some shit too. And then of course we do sprinkle in some things we've learned along the way that might be helpful for you.
Yeah, of course.
But we will have season 2. It will start back up in August. Our seasons start in August. I guess we'll probably have about 20 episodes next season as well. We'll see. But for now, we're going to keep our topics under wraps because we're still developing them. I mean, we have some ideas and we've had a long list to start with, but
I'm just so proud of us.
Yeah. It's been
apart from everything that has happened to us.
Yeah. For this, because it can be really scary to come out here and share your story, especially when you know that people you know are listening.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't go around telling people, hey,
yeah,
I got taken into a shack and molested everyone. That's not a joke. I'm sorry, guys. That's inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I'm hurt people make stupid jokes about themselves.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
But we're really grateful for all your listening, and we would appreciate a subscribe and a comment, Yeah.
If you find you're missing us this summer, feel free to replay or revisit any episode that you really liked. Or maybe if this is the first episode you've come to, we have 19 more. Yeah. And
also, if there is any topic that you want us to touch base on of something that you're going through, who knows, we might be going through, God knows we're a basket case. Let us know. And we're more than happy to discuss.
Yeah, we can explore those topics and see if they probably connect to us.
Somehow.
They probably do.
Because we're crazy, but not the point.
We are Bitches Be Cray. So thanks for tuning in to season 1, and we will talk to you later. Enjoy your summer.
Have a great summer. Hey, besties. If you love the chaos, the laughs, and the real talk, don't forget to hit the follow button. Subscribe, share, and tell your friends because Bitches Be Cray. And you love it. New episodes drop every other Wednesday, so stay tuned and stay cray. Bye, bitches.